All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cricket for Americans. Nick here, and I am bringing you the second episode in my series of basic overviews of different national cricket teams. My first episode was on Sri Lanka. If you've not seen it, check it out. It's on Cricket for Americans, and it's on Boring Reviews. This video is strictly for Cricket for Americans, which is where it should be. Now, I'm excited to get into my second episode in this series, India cricket. I'm focusing on India, the Indian national team. This is going to be a daunting task because so much of our audience is from India. I want to make sure I do right by you all. I want to make sure I'm providing you nothing but facts. I read several different websites to get my information. I'm hoping all of it's accurate. I will say I use Wikipedia for some of this, but when it comes to fiction or nonfiction, typically you can trust Wikipedia. So hopefully it did not steer me wrong. But let's jump right into basic overview, episode 2, India cricket national team. And some information on the history of cricket in India. So let's start off right at the beginning. All right, so supposedly South England created cricket around the 13th century. That is the rumor going around. That is the information going around. The British then brought cricket to India in the early 1700s, and the first match was played in 1721. Eventually, India created their first cricket club called the Oriental Cricket Club in 1848. That was their first league. So that's a little bit of history on how cricket came to India. There's a great series that's now on YouTube about, I think, Empire of Cricket or something like that. I watched a few of the episodes, got some of the information from there. I recommend you check that out if you have not done so yet. When we are talking about cricket in India, there was some other things early on that I want to mention. There was a player named Lala Aminoff, and he scored the first century that we know of. He scored 118 runs, first century by an Indian in a test match. And this was in 1933, and this was supposedly the first match that was in India. It was India versus England. Maybe it wasn't. No, it wasn't in India. But this was the first match that India played in a test cricket game. And that's where Lala Aminoff scored the first century. So just a fun fact right there. As far as what's the impact of India cricket on India, according to another website, it said that 54 million people in India play cricket. Okay, so that's professionally, that's on the streets, that's for fun. Now, India has over 1 billion people, so 54 million, you think that would be much higher for how crazy it is. When I say crazy, how popular cricket is in India. So maybe that number is much higher. That was just according to one survey that was done. It also said that India's contribution is to cricket, the revenue, is 70% of the global cricket revenue. Imagine that for a second. And that was written in an article by Pritesh Desai from My Story online for an article. So check that out in case you don't believe it. 70% of the global cricket revenue. The way I read that is 70% of all the money coming in from cricket globally is from India. That is amazing. I remember from watching the test, it showed just tons and tons of Indian fans when the Australian players came in to play and they were going to their hotel. Just tons and tons of fans that were there. Some were heckling, but most of them were just so excited. I mean, you just couldn't see an open space in the entire street. It was just so crowded, shoulder to shoulder. That definitely showed their fandom. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the achievements. All right, so let's talk a little more about the basics of cricket in India. India is part of the ICC in all three formats, Test, ODI, and T20. They have certifications in all those. Their national cricket team played their first test match in 1932, like I had mentioned, 1933, and it at that time became the sixth team to receive test status. Some of its main rival is Pakistan, obviously, but some of the newer rivals recently, because of the competitive nature, is Australia, South Africa, and England as of recently. And as of May 1st, 2020, just yesterday from the time I'm recording this, India was ranked third in Test, second in ODI, and third in T20 matches, which that's not too bad. And Virat Kohli is the captain in all 3 formats. We'll get to Virat Kohli in just a little bit. Now let's go to some of the achievements of Indian cricket. All right. So India won the Cricket World Cup twice. Once in 1983. Their captain was Kapil Dev, and they won by 45 runs, beating the West Indies. And in 1983, the West Indies, they were the team to beat. They had already won 2 World Cups at that time, the West Indies did. And then they won it again in 2011. MS Dhoni was the captain of that team, and they beat Sri Lanka by 6 wickets in that World Cup. So Sri Lanka, who I mentioned in my first episode, here they are. They made it to another World Cup final, but they lost to India. And India was the first team officially to win a World Cup at home in 2011. They were joint champions with Sri Lanka in 2012 with the Champions Trophy. They also won their sole Champions Trophy by themselves in 2013 under MS Dhoni. And they also won the 2007 ICC World Cup 2020. A lot of accomplishments. They've won World Cups in all formats at least once. Very impressive. India is also very, very famous for starting the IPL, the Indian Premier League, in 2008. This is considered the best of the best. The best players playing against each other. It's not just Indian players, but it's an Indian league. And this league started in 2008, has grown exponentially. It's a huge achievement of India to create this league. It is a T20 professional league that plays usually between March, April, or May of each year. It was canceled this year because of the pandemic. It ranks, this is the crazy thing, it ranked 6th in average attendance of all sports. Now, from where I got this from, I read that as all sports around the world, not as all sports in India. All sports around the cricket, it ranks 6th in average attendance. That is huge. It's the first sport in the world to be broadcasted live on YouTube. And it's valued at $6.7 billion US dollars. Very, very profitable, very successful. In the IPL, you have the Mumbai Indians, who are the current champ. They won their 4th championship since 2008, so they are like the Yankees. They are the royalty. And the average salary for a player, this really surprised me, $4.3 million, I almost said billion, $1 million per player. That's the average salary. Obviously, some players, like a Virat Kohli, they make a whole lot more. But that's the average salary, $4.3 million. That's incredible. All right, so that is some history, some basic overview history on India and Indian cricket. There's a whole lot that I left out. Believe it or not, it took me 7 minutes to say that, but it took me hours to collect that information. There's so much more that I watched and I read that I could have put in here, but I'm just giving you the highlights. I'm trying to make these short and informative. But here's the most important part, and I have a full 1.5 page notes just on this part. We're looking at the individual players, the best players in India. Now, this is the part I'm a little nervous about because I'm going to leave out your favorite player for sure. I'm going to mention 11 players and their achievements. With Sri Lanka cricket, I think I only did 7 or 8. I'm mentioning 11 here because the history of great players is very vast. I'm using different websites, different chat rooms, different rankings from different websites on India cricket, and even one that had the fans vote. So these are my top 11. Hopefully you agree with at least some of them. I'm going to mention highlights for each player. But just first, some honorable mentions. These are some players that I don't have information on, but I'm writing their names down because they were mentioned in some of those top 25 lists, and I only have 11. And please excuse my pronunciation. We have Shikhar Dhawan, Suresh Raina, Gautam Gambhir, Vijay Merchant, Subhash Gupti, Ravi Shastri, Javagal Srinath, and Mohammed Azharuddin. Messed up that last name. Sorry about that. Those are my honorable mentions. I would have already showed their picture to you so you can see who I was mentioning in case you understand my pronunciation. Those were mentioned as some of the best Indian players ever, but my list only has 11. And I'm not going in any particular order. I'm not going from 11 to 1, but I will end with the most popular, the best at the end, those top 3. From my research, what I consider to be the best most popular 3 Indian players. But let's start, again, no particular order for the other 8. Let's start with Anil Kumble. Anil Kumble was a right-arm leg spin bowler. He has the third highest wicket. He's the third highest wicket taker with 619 wickets taken in test matches. The third highest ever, not just for an Indian. In 1999, he took out all 10 Pakistani players in a match. It only happened one time previously. He's one of the 2 guys ever to take all 10 players out of that match. He did against Pakistan in 1999. He relied heavily on his pace, his bounce, and his accuracy as a bowler. He was the Cricketer of the Year in 1993, and he entered the Hall of Fame in 2015. Right now, he is the current coach and director of the Kings IPL team. So that's pretty cool. Next, I'm going to talk about Virender Sehwag. He is one of the most destructive batsmen ever. He was chosen as the Wisden leading cricketer in the world in 2008 and 2009. He has the highest score for an Indian in a test match with 319 against South Africa. And that was the fastest triple century for anyone. It was off 278 balls. He was also the fastest to get 250 runs against Sri Lanka off 202 balls. That might be 207 balls. He surpassed the score of 300 twice, so 2 triple centuries. Wow. He and Chris Gayle are the only ones to get a double hundred in ODI and a triple hundred in a test match. If you're in a list with Chris Gayle and no one else, you are extremely impressive. And I'm just going over the highlights of these players. These players, as you know, as fans have been watching them your whole life, this is a newbie telling you this stuff. I can't tell you anything new. You know about these players. I'm sure you have so much admiration for them. Let's go next to Sunil Gavaskar, also a.k.a. known as Sunny. He played in the 70s and the 80s. He is one of the best opening batsmen in cricket history. He has records, lots of records, most test runs and the most test centuries ever at the time that he played. He was the first to 10,000 runs. He scored a century in both innings twice in a test match in his career. Century in both innings of that test match. He did it twice. And he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2009. So that's Sonny. I know he's a lot of your all-time favorite. He's like one of the Babe Ruth characters in the sport of cricket for India. And I didn't give him enough justice, but that was some information on Sonny. Let's go next to Rahul Dravid. Okay, Rahul Dravid, known as the Wall, the Great Wall, Mr. Dependable. We have a reaction on cricket on Boring Reviews for Rahul Dravid if you want to check it out in the documentary. He was the first ICC Player of the Year and Test Player of the Year in 2004 when they started giving out those awards. He was the first one. He has the fourth highest test run. He's the fourth highest test run score of all time. And as a defensive batsman, having the fourth most runs is super impressive. He is the only player to score a century against all test playing countries. So how about that? He has the most catches made in test non-wicket keeper. Okay, for a non-wicket keeper, he has the most catches made in a test match. Okay, so the most outs from he's caught. He's never once gotten a golden duck, and according to that stat, he's one of the few or the only one never to get a golden duck. No runs when you're first up there to bat. Mr. Dependable, right? And he has seen the most balls and minutes by any test cricketer. Once again, he was Mr. Dependable. He would stand up there, from what I'm told, for hours and just not allow those wickets to get hit. Might not be scoring any runs, but not allow those wickets to get hit, and then he would see his opportunities. He definitely has a whole lot of fans with our audience. Next, I'm going to talk about Rohit Sharma. This one might surprise you because he's relatively young. He's 33. He's relatively a modern player, but that's how the votes work from the fans and from these websites. He's the only player to score more than one ODI double hundred, and he did 3 of them. Okay, so he's the only one to score more than one. He scored 3 of them. In 2009, he was the ODI Cricketer of the Year. ODI Cricketer of the Year. He is the captain of the Mumbai Indians, which is the best team in IPL. And it's not really arguably. They have the most championships. He is the captain of that team. He scored 264 runs in one inning, an ODI match versus Sri Lanka. 264 runs. We've been asked to react to that so many times. We haven't gotten to it yet, but that'd be great to see. His nickname was the Hitman. I love that. I'm a huge wrestling fan. Bret the Hitman Hart. He was known as the Hitman because he was aggressive, and he's also a huge animal rights supporter, which you got to love that. You got to take care of our animals. All right, let's go next to Yuvraj Singh. Yuvraj Singh, he is an all-rounder. This guy can do it all. He can bowl and he could bat. He is the son of former cricketer Yuvraj Singh. He was the man of the tournament in the 2011 World Cup when India won. He had 5 wickets taken and 50 runs. So, I mean, that is exactly what you want to ask of your players. Get us 5 wickets and get us a half century. He was able to do that, voted the man of the tournament. He hit 6 sixers in one inning against England in 2007. Me and Gabe reacted to that on our channel, Boring Reviews. I mean, think about that. 6 sixers. 6 sixers. A sixer for every ball bowled in that over. He did that. And because of that, he had 50 runs in just 12 balls, which I believe is the quickest to a half century. He was the most expensive player ever sold in the IPL in 2015. He has 14 centuries and 52 50s in ODI matches. ODI matches. Wow. Yuvraj Singh. And he also, the character, makes an appearance in the MS Dhoni movie, just for fun. Let's go to one of the best captains of India, because he captained the 1983 World Cup team. We're talking about Kapil Dev. Kapil Dev was a fast bowler and a hard-hitting batsman. He was one of the best all-rounders, period. He was the captain of the 83 World Cup team. He was the Indian Cricketer of the Century, voted in 2002. Indian Cricketer of the Century. Wow. He had the record of the most test wickets taken, and he's the only player to have 400 test wickets taken and 5,000 test runs. Only player to do that. That's why he is an all-rounder all the way. And he went to the Hall of Fame in 2010. This guy's royalty. This guy led them to the World Cup. Best Indian cricketer of the century. Gotta be kidding me. All right, let's get to next Sourav Ganguly. I'm going to say that wrong. I'm sorry. His nickname was Dada. Okay, Dada. He is now a cricket executive, which is pretty cool. So he's still in the game. When he was playing, he was a world-leading batsman and a successful captain of India. He was god of the offside. So I had to look up the offside. And the way I understand it is if I'm batting right, then the offside is the opposite direction where I'm pushing the ball that way, not pulling it this way. So in baseball, we say hitting the other way or pulling the ball. And to hit to the opposite direction, the opposite field, is not an easy thing to do, but the defense is not there, so that's what you want to do. So he was the god of the offside. He liked to push the ball the other way. He has an all-time high-scoring partnership of 318 with Rahul Dravid in the 1999 World Cup, so that's really cool. I think that was the highest-scoring partnership in World Cup history. He is the 8th highest scorer in ODI history, 3rd to cross 10,000 runs, and Wisden ranks him as the 6th best ODI batsman ever. And some of the guys on this list are ODI specialists. I mean, they're killers when it comes to ODI. He was ranked as the 6th best of all time. All right, now to our top 3. And yes, you guessed it. Our top 3 in no particular order, except for maybe one. That's probably undeniable. But let's talk about Virat Kohli. I always say that name wrong. Sorry about that for his fans. Virat Kohli. He is the current captain of India cricket. He is the captain of all 3 formats. There's not even a question. He is the man in charge. He is top ranked in ODIs, and he is 2nd ranked in tests. So this guy is versatile. When he first came in, he was known as an ODI specialist. You can only score an ODI. You're only good at ODI format. You can't handle the test. Well, look at him now. 2nd ranked in test as of now. He has the best ever test, ODI, and T20 ratings among Indian players. He captained the Under-19 World Cup in 2008, and which they won. And then he was on the 2011 national team, which they won as well. So he definitely knows how to win. All right, he's the fastest ever to 10,000 runs and the fastest ever to 11,000 runs in ODI matches. He is the Cricketer of the Year in 2017 and 2018, and he was Cricketer of the World 2016, 17, 18. Now, I'm not sure how you're Cricketer of the World in 16, but not of the year in 16, but maybe that's different voting places. But this guy is cricket royalty right now. He's considered by many, especially Australian players in the show The Test, as the best cricketer of the world right now. He has been playing for a while. but he's still the youngest on my list. He's 31 years old. He's got plenty of room to go. He's making a whole lot of money playing in the IPL. He's not able to translate those skills and those winning abilities with the IPL team, but he is still fantastic. He is on the online. It says he's one of the most marketable athletes in all of sports and one of the most recognizable. This guy is big time. Next, MS Dhoni. MS Dhoni. It was tough to choose between MS Dhoni and my number one choice. Even though I said there's no official order, I guess there really is. MS Dhoni. He has got a movie after you haven't seen it yet. We've reacted to it and reviewed it. He was the captain of India from 2007 to 2016 in some capacity, in one of the formats. He was a captain of India. He was the only captain in any national team, as far as I understand this, the only captain to win all the ICC trophies as the captain. World Cup, Champions Trophy, and the 2020. Only captain to do that. This guy knew how to lead. He was known as a finisher. He has over 10,000 runs in ODI. He has the most wins by any Indian captain. He was one of the best wicket keepers and captains ever. This guy was not just offensive, he was defensive for sure. He was ODI Player of the Year in 2008 and 2009. He led the team to the number one ODI ranking in 2009, and that was the first time India was ever ranked number one in ODIs. He led them to that. He was the first captain to lead an India team that whitewashed India in 40 years, for the first time in 40 years. And he has 10 centuries and 73 50s, half centuries in his ODI career. So he's not just known for his wicket-keeping skills, he's also known as a great batsman. When I say offensive, that's what I mean, scoring runs, defensive, being in the field. He was able to do them both. This guy is a true leader. This guy knew what decisions to make, and he led his team to many, many championships for the national team, which is super impressive. But now it is time for my number one, the god of cricket, as you know him as, Sachin Tendulkar. He is known, like I said, as the god of cricket. He is the highest run scorer of all time in Test and ODI. He's the best. He's the highest one. Virat Kohli might catch up to him, but he is the best. He has 30,000 runs combined in international cricket. 30,000. Imagine that. That's 10,000 runs average for 3 different formats. Wow. He has represented India in cricket. He did for almost 40 years. He has 100 international centuries, and from what I remember, that was the most ever. He was the first to score a double century in ODIs. He was the first to score 10,000 runs in ODIs. And in 2019, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. 2010, he was Cricket Player of the Year. I thought that was interesting. Maybe he won more. Not from my research. You would think someone like Sachin would have won Cricket of the Year for Cricketer of the Year for many, many years. After his career, he was nominated for Parliament. He became the honorary captain of the Air Force, and he was an honorary member of the Order of Australia, for crying out loud. That's pretty cool. Different country giving you an honorary title. Sachin has been known to us by our fans as the man. He is the best, the best. We have been told so many stories about him. One that I like to hear about, and I think it was actually in the trailer for A Billion Dreams, as he sacrificed everything to become the best. I'm not saying I like sacrificing everything and saying goodbye to family and this or that, but when you want to be the best, you've got to sacrifice it all to have that chance. That's why I admire Kobe Bryant. That's why I admire Michael Jordan. And that's why I admire Sachin. Those are my top players of India. I hope you enjoyed my list. I hope you enjoyed this basic overview. Let me know if you did in the comment section. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to Cricket for Americans. And let me know if you want to do more. And let me know what team should be next. So far, we have Sri Lanka episode 1, India episode 2, episode 3. It could be Australia. It could be Pakistan. It could be England. It could be Bangladesh. There's a lot of different choices out there. You let me know in the comment section. Thanks for checking this out. And until next time, adios.